Brought to you by Make Fun Network.
Welcome to the Top 5 of Death, where listeners vote, and everyone dies. Listen and die.
Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Top 5 of Death. I am Charles, not Chucky. As you can tell, Matt is not here again. He had an open house this weekend. We haven't heard from him since Friday, so we're assuming he either got murdered at the open house or didn't make it there at all. I am joined, as always, with Sam. Hi, Sam.
Howdy, keeping you on your toes today.
Yeah. And returning this week, Will. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hey.
Full sugar energy drink over here.
Jeez. Yes, we are recording at 8:30 at night. We're back to our nightly schedule. I think I have more energy at this time of day. I know Sam probably does.
Oh my god, I'm just getting work started at this time of day.
I loved today. No offense to Matt, his schedule, but this didn't take 2 hours out of the core part of my Sunday. So we got groceries in, full meal prep. We got to go out for breakfast. I had a great day.
Hell yeah.
How about y'all?
Yeah. It's because you ain't got a driveway to shovel.
Oh, do you have to take care of your personal property?
Well, I got my snow guy came over at like 8, and then he didn't leave till like 4 p.m. So, I've got this really crazy huge driveway to park my big Kia. So, you guys don't understand what it's like. I'm trying to sell my house over here.
What does he need? I've seen his Zillow. What does he need a drive? What does he need a snow guy for?
I mean, his driveway is very steep, but it's not a big driveway either.
No.
Charles, you've seen my driveway.
Yes.
That is absurd, and
It's a hill.
It's a crazy, twisty, windy hill with no guardrails on either side, so you just fall to your death. But we have a snowplow that comes, and it takes him 4 minutes to do it. So, whatever.
As opposed to you and Kaylee with brooms.
With broom, well, yes. Trust me, I have a snow broom. I got a shovel, got a broom. I do have a snow blower, although it almost never leaves the little shed because it's too fucking cold out there.
You are some piece of a man. What kind of? Let me ask you this, and I don't have much faith that you can answer this question.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of snowblower do you have?
Oh, you are right. You are right to not have faith in me. I will say it was my dad's snowblower, which it's probably 20 years old is my guess, but it's in like perfect condition because he's like the type of dad that will like replace like every single piece of it and then like use up a warranty that's like a lifetime warranty of stuff. Like he's had the same grill for like 25 years and it looks like it's brand new because it replaced one piece at a time.
Or...
Yeah, for his teeth. It's the same with the snowblower. So he comes over every year and like services it, which is great, and then I'll use it like once a year. But it's nice snowblower.
That's nice. That's how I got my start. Is my dad gave me his like 25-year-old well taken care of snowblower.
Yep.
Lasted me like 3 years.
Yep.
Until it was junk because I tried to fix it and that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
But hey, you should see my driveway right now. Nothing but blacktop.
Nice.
Nice and shiny. Perfect. No ice. All sand and kitty litter.
I will say I have a bunch of ice in my driveway, and there was two incidents this past week. One, I noticed that my garbage can like blew over and it blew across the road. So I got out of my car as I was leaving the house to go get it, and I didn't realize as I got out that my entire hill was straight ice. So I got out of the car and I just started to slide just uncontrollably down the hill, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it back to my car. And it took me like 10 minutes to get back in the car, and I'm glad the car didn't slide away as well. But then yesterday I was cleaning off our other car, and I fell harder than I have ever fallen, in my entire life. I just slipped on some ice and just fell straight on my back, and then bounced back up just in case anyone saw me. just in case any of the neighbors were watching, just bounced back up, no big deal, and then proceeded to just clutch my back for the rest of the day.
I can't lie, I ate shit today coming out of the shed, putting the snowblower away. I didn't clean off the ramp going into the shed, and just the smallest little thing of ice just wiped my ass out. And it was so fast, it was like no chance for recovery. Looked around though, nobody saw, so it didn't count.
There you go.
Sounds terrible, guys. It was 65 degrees here today in Virginia.
Son of a bitch.
It snowed on Tuesday, and the snow was gone on Thursday. So I shoveled out 2 spots, and didn't matter because no one went anywhere. So
Oof. I have a drift in front of my house that's about as tall as I am right now.
Wow, a 4-foot drift.
I was an easy setup, and I'm glad you took it. Yeah, I saw the Kendrick Lamar halftime show or whatever, and I was like, am I taller than him? It's unbelievable.
Kendrick Lamar is not tall. Yeah.
And somehow less gay.
Somehow.
I mean, I've never seen such tight pants on a rapper.
Tight pants? What are you talking about? Those were straight up bell bottoms, and we know it.
Not around his ankles, but
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Hey, maybe bell bottoms are coming back. I don't know.
That being said,
What
I'd
do
like
they
to
say,
go on.
every 2 or 3 is it 3 decades? Fashion circles?
I guess I can tell you right now, this week I started work on my latest gig, and I can tell you it's with a fashion line, and yeah, jorts are apparently making a comeback.
Oh.
So
They never were.
yeah, they are now apparently. So
Unless you're from Billerica, Massachusetts.
yeah,
Who hasn't looked at John Cena and said, maybe I could pull that off?
maybe I can pull this off. John Cena and Kevin Smith. Those are the two reasons why no one wears jorts. Right there.
Did you say Kevin Smith or Kevin Steen?
Kevin Smith. Wait, does Kevin Steen also wear jorts?
Kevin Owens?
Yeah. No.
He
Right?
wrestles in jean shorts. A lot of times, no?
What?
Nope. I'm absolutely out of my mind, maybe.
I think he wrestles
Anyway,
in like
you guys want-
tights and gym shorts.
I was gonna say, aren't they tights with gym shorts over top?
Yeah, I don't know where that memory came from. Ask me about my weekend.
Because it fits. All right.
Well, how was your weekend?
My weekend was crazy because you know what I went to see last night was the MWL, the midget wrestle. I don't even remember the league name.
Yep.
Midget Wrestling Alliance or League or something came around to my hometown. Luckily, we bought tickets several months ago. A couple of friends of ours got them. We saw the ads coming around on Facebook. It's always seemed like a good time. And boy, was it. I could not have imagined what I was walking into. And that's kind of saying something because I've been to indie wrestling and it's wild. These people take it to a whole new level. The biggest characters you're going to see at one of these events are the fans in the front row because they are like strung out 50-year-old cokeheads who are just like out of their mind, just like zombies, like, yeah, kill them. And they go to all the events. They tour the circuit of the Midget Wrestling Alliance. And I don't know, have you guys, either of you, ever been to one of these?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Not specifically to a midget event, but
All right,
those are kind of my birthday parties growing up.
Hey, no respect. But this is, I feel like there's 2 different companies that do like a tour once a year that come around my city and my area. And this one seems like the most lowbrow of the 2, even though I haven't seen the other. They did all the classic tropes. Everything was midget this, midget that. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it. I sent you a video in the group chat. Hopefully it didn't get iPhoned. But you can see that they had a... well, let me start with this. The first 2 out of 3 matches were intergender. I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
The first match was like... they called it a micro grudge match. And then the guy whose valet was this old lady, probably 50 years old. I only say midget because that's what they called themselves. She came out. Her name was Mama. She had a rolling pin. She did she did all the classic moves like the bonsai drop, and the cooter drop. I think she called it. Where she did,
nice.
Yeah, did just like a sit on the chest, but a little more north. Was sure to rub it in. Again, this older lady, very talented, very entertaining all around. One of the guys from the MWO, which was the Midget World Order.
Oh, good.
Great stable, by the way. I was rooting for all of them, even though they were playing heels and everybody else was like, playing the. But I was like, this guy's great. He's like the Rock on the mic. This guy just tore the crowd apart. Amazing crowd work. He started yelling at people who were, yelping back at him, and I'm like. Rosa was sitting next to me. She was all into it. She was having a good time. And I'm like, don't yell anything out to this guy, please. Because he was eviscerating people. This one girl yells, she's got a Insane Clown Posse hockey jersey on. And he's like, this fat bitch over here can shut the fuck up and suck my dick. This act was vulgar. And he goes, and then there's a bunch of younger girls next to her. And he goes, yeah, and you 4 transvestites can sit the fuck down too.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, I tried to start the chant, 4 transvestites, and nobody really played into that one. But the character work was great. There was the battle royal was the end of the card to determine the next number 1 contender, and one of the entrants who was in the video I sent you guys, and I'll post it on Discord too. Her name was I think Bad Lil Baby Bunny. So kind of an amalgamation of a few different things. She was a pretty young lady. Come out, did great work in the ring. To be honest, she wrestled a guy, and they actually had a really good match together. And then she came out in the Royal Rumble. And afterwards, I would have never expected this. The event was over. The number 1 contender was determined. Little baby Betty Bunny, who had a respectable posterior, I think we would say, relative to her size. Her signature move was the stink face, which she applied a couple times during the night. At the conclusion of the event, the crowd was invited for a small fee of $50 to get a stink face from Little Bad Baby Bunny.
So how was it?
And I would answer that, but I was there with my wife. No. Literally $50, and this little person would rub her ass all over your face. And she went in, just like Rikishi would, for $50. I did not expect mild prostitution at the end of the event. We're watching, and after like the 8th or 9th guy went up to do this, Rosa looks at me and is like, the show's over, right? And I'm like, yeah, I think we could probably go now. This is just weird.
Listen, girls gotta make a paycheck.
She made at least 500. It must have been 10 guys.
Now, do you think that's all like under the table sort of money? You're not paying taxes on that, right?
Oh, for sure. Because before that, they raffled off one of those thin aluminum trash cans that they would use for, bumps. Even though it was a very minor bump, they raffled it off for, who wants to buy this trash can used in the ring and we'll autograph it and blah, blah, blah. They auctioned it off, not just the trash can, but the trash can and the lid to try to milk everything they could out of it. But it did include front row tickets to the next show.
Oh, there you go.
So.
And where is the next show?
Tonight. It's going on like right now.
Oh my God.
CJ Doubleday's probably there. It's in Drake It.
I definitely saw a poster for this event somewhere in my socials. I'm so glad you were there.
It was, I couldn't never imagine it would have been as raunchy and as, TVMA rated. The stuff that they let the guy, I can't remember his damn name, but the young black guy that somebody called Diddy's Nutsack.
my God.
Yep.
I mean, quality entertainment. Get the front row seats.
Yep.
100% worth it. I think it was like $60 each. But yeah, highly recommend the MLW, I think it was called.
Unbelievable.
Coming to a Elks Lodge near you in Battle Creek, Michigan.
You know what? I'll go out of my way to go to go to one of those shows. Kaylee's brother has mentioned going a number of times, especially because he lives in Florida. So you get the special extra Florida trash people with the midget wrestling.
Oh, this was Carney through and through.
Yep.
And I did want to. I forgot about this. I wanted to once more on the on little bad baby bunny's posterior, her little rumpus. I like to think of it as she had a little bit of a badink-a-dink.
So stupid.
You're the worst.
I knew you'd love it, Sam.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna have to take the date to Olive Garden where we met Dink the Clown off of my list because it's gonna be too repetitive at this point. Fantastic.
Yeah. Highly recommend it. Highly.
I can't top that with anything. I can't top that for shit. I've been inside all week. It's just been so miserable outside. I haven't done anything. I've watched. I did finish Shrinking on Apple TV. I don't know if either of you guys have watched that show.
I've not.
I haven't heard of it.
It's with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel. It's a beautiful comedy, like emotional. It hits you in all the right spots. I will say, if anyone's looking for something to watch, definitely worth watching. Two things. One, incredible soundtrack. Just look up the soundtrack on iTunes or Spotify. Give it a listen. It's really good. And two, I'm like 2 episodes into season 2. I've been digging the show so much so far. I was like, I really like this show. And then all of a sudden, there is a beeline storyline where one of the main characters goes to the animal shelter, to photograph dogs because their adoption photos aren't good enough. And I'm like, what? And then that becomes a through line for the rest of the season. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing. So that show won me over big time. But yeah, other than that and doing some office work, like, I haven't done anything interesting. So, man, the midget wrestling deserves all the time in the world to talk about. Charles, what have you been up to, my man?
I've been working this week, doing actual work. That's what I have to do now.
Boo.
Yeah. So this whole time I've had off. No, we haven't been doing much. We caught up on another Apple TV show. We've been watching Severance.
Oh, we just started that.
That's just if that was a sneaky good show because it's big. I don't want to say like Lost, like the show Lost feelings, but it's the same thing. It's like there's clearly a mystery in this show, and I know they're trying to solve it, but I want to solve this. Like, what the fuck is happening here?
It's funny you made the Lost comparison because when that show was on and we were watching it, we'd finish an episode, and I would always quote Futurama and just say, that just raises further questions. And then when we started watching Severance, I had the exact same quote at the end of the first 2 episodes. So
yeah,
you're right with that comparison.
Yeah, we've been watching that. We have got like 3 months of Apple TV Plus. So we also watched their new movie, The Gorge, that came out with fucking what's his name, Mustache from the new Top Flight, not Top Flight. What's it called? Top Gun movie.
Tom Cruise.
What's that, Jeff? Miles Teller. Mustache. Yeah. That's what I do. Him and Anya Taylor-Joy are in this movie. It felt like when I was watching, I was like, this just feels like a bunch of like cutscenes from a video game that they threw together, but with real actors and stuff. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It's an action movie. I think it was labeled as a dark romance movie.
Wow.
So, but yeah. Not bad. Something you could throw on the background and just go, oh, this is still going on.
Seems fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's a straight to Apple TV Plus. Like, what do you expect? But yeah. nothing that interesting going on. We had Valentine's Day Friday. We don't really do much. Yeah. Did y'all do anything for the holiday?
For Valentine's Day, I was going to say we. Oh, you know what? Kaylee cooked dinner for the first time in our relationship.
Oh, exciting!
She does not cook, but dinner came out great. Oh, and you know what we did? We watched the Saturday Night Live concert thing that was on. That was pretty incredible. Yeah, the different.
I've seen headlines of that. I didn't know it even existed.
Yeah.
Until after it happened.
I didn't really know either, but I went to open up Peacock. I think we were watching something else on there, and then they're like, "This is live now." I'm like, "Oh, we just started 2 minutes ago. Let's check it out." And it was pretty unbelievable the people that they had on it. Of which I can name none of them. But no, they had like they had so many people. They had Lady Gaga. They had Andy Samberg came out to do a Lonely Island medley with Lady Gaga and Eddie Vedder, and it was incredible. Eddie Vedder performed as well. Arcade Fire, Jack White, David Byrne from the Talking Heads. He came out and performed a couple songs, and he looked really lost, and it was pretty unfortunate. The B-52s played, and Fred Armisen played drums with them and with another group as well, but with Devo. It was pretty wild, and the whole time all I could think of was like, what was rehearsing this like? How do you rehearse? Because it was nonstop. Like they had 3 stages going. As soon as this person's done, it's like now it's on to Bonnie Raitt and Chris Martin. Like they're done. Okay, cool.
Bonnie Raitt.
Directly onto Cher. Like directly onto Jack White or whatever. And it was unbelievable. And Will Ferrell and oh god, what's her name? Anna
Gasteyer.
Gasteyer, yeah. They did their skit where they played the two older people who are always performing. He's on the piano or whatever. They did that with a bunch of modern songs and fucking crushed it. It was really, really good. So
Nice.
Any music fans out there?
I didn't even.
I've got to check.
I didn't know that was happening.
I'm a fan of SNL. We watch it every week, all the new ones anyway. Despite what a lot of people say, it's no good anymore. I think it's been great for the last 3-4 years.
It really just depends on how well you know the cast. Like, and if you click with a certain, even you just need like 2 people to latch onto, and you're good. Really, that's all you need.
Their biggest problem is to just that if they did no Trump bits, it would be such a better show.
Yeah, they gotta
opening
always do the political.
week in and week out during his presidency, and now probably this next one. I don't know. The guy that does Trump, first of all, Alec Baldwin, sick of that fucking guy. And then the other guy that does it normally, he does an okay job, but it's just not funny. He just quotes what Trump said earlier in the week. It's not a comedy bit. It's just presenting absurdity, which I guess is still comedy, but fucking come on, write something.
Yeah.
I think it's also lost its effect because A, we're overexposed to him, and B, everybody can do a Trump at this point. You just kind of
nobody's funnier than Trump because you can make fun of him and like exaggerate something he does, but he's gonna one up you.
Yeah.
The next week.
Is it Adam Ray who does a Trump impression, or who am I thinking of?
Adam Ray did the Joe Biden. Shane Gillis does like the best.
Oh, okay.
Regarded Trump.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, also as we're speaking right now, the SNL anniversary is happening live.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the 50th. So I'll watch that
DVR.
tomorrow or sometime.
Yeah, get a lot of good stuff.
Give me a second. I have to call Comcast and ask them to record it for me.
Do you have room on your TiVo for that?
Oh yeah, dude. My DVR has like 128 gigabytes.
Wow.
Pretty sick.
I could store like three 4K shots on that. I'll be fine.
Couple of clips.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, who won last week?
I did.
Yes, you did.
It was neck and neck for a while.
I don't know what the hell. I honestly thought for a second we had bots or something that infiltrated because we were one vote away. And then I was like, we got 1 day left to vote. And then I went in and checked and went, you doubled in time and the votes. I was like, what the fuck just happened?
People showed up for it.
Apparently.
People showed up because, you know why? Because they expect a quality death.
Yes, they do. And I have not delivered one in 2 wins.
They expect a quality death, and you know what? I'm going to give it to them. Mm-hmm. There is no music in this
Maniacs.
one. Exactly. They're running wild, brother. There's no music in this one. I
don't believe you.
I know. And you know what? You're right not to believe me, but but I started writing this. We're recording. We started recording at 8:30. I started writing this at like 7:15, and I was like, this will only take a couple minutes. And then I looked up, and it was like 8:27. I was like, fuck! I've been writing this for a while. Okay. How's the mic quality sound, by the way? Am I distorting or anything?
I don't know.
I pulled you down a little bit. You are distorting a little bit, so I don't know if you're high on your end or not.
Okay, I can turn down my gain just a tiny bit. Okay, because we need all the quality for this. Mm-hmm. Chapter 1.
Right. Should I go get food or?
Charles, devastated by another defeat by his co-host Sam, decided it was time to go for a run. Because I'm a trash person, I'm going for a run where I feel most comfortable, Charles said aloud to anyone who would listen. He put on his oversized clown shoes and ran to the town dump so he could be around his fellow piles of trash. Stupid Sam, traveling to cooler and more obscure places than me. I'll learn him good, Charles muttered as he rounded a corner made of burnt-out car frames. I just need to think of the coolest and most obscure place ever. Once I go there, I'll have the best story, and I can finally be liked again. But where? Where would I go? As Charles pondered, he leaned against a trash heap, which began to shift. Pieces of trash clattered on the ground all around Charles, coffee cans, an old PC desktop tower, and... What is that? Charles murmured as he bent over. There, among the general bric-a-brac, a bronzed object glinted and gleamed. It's a lamp, Charles sighed. And what's this inscription? He breathed on the lamp, his breath condensating its bronze exterior. He began to rub the object for a better look at the inscription, when suddenly thick blue smoke began to violently blast from the lamp. A gaunt, haggard genie emerged from the lamp and looked exhaustedly at Charles. Wow, a genie, Charles squawked. Are you going to sing and dance like Robin Williams? What? Fuck no. Just get to wishing. What do you want? New slacks or something? The genie said with general disinterest. Well, I was just saying to myself, I want to go to the coolest and most obscure place ever. Somewhere where none of the other hosts have been, not even that super cool and handsome Sam. Do you want to be more specific? The genie lamented. I mean, I don't really know. It's got to be someplace fun. Someplace that Matt, Will, or Sam have never been to and never will go to. Someplace really exclusive and impossible for just any guy to get into. I mean, truly, I want to make sure you send me someplace no adult man has access to. That's a weird way to put it, but okay. And with a shrug, the genie poofed Charles away. Chapter 2. Sadie Prescott was having the greatest day of her life. There was music and dancing and so much laughter. Tia, Zoe, Juno, and Lily had given Sadie a makeover, and her dad was going to allow them to stay up all night so they could talk about whatever they wanted to, including boys. Sadie sighed, taking it in and savoring the special moment. It wasn't just any day that a girl turned 12. The girls were gleefully painting each other's nails when Sadie began to have a peculiar feeling. Guys, I feel funny, she said, putting a hand to her forehead. Tia knelt next to her, concerned. Do you want me to go get your dad? Sadie, what's happening to your face? Juno said, pointing. Sadie touched her face, which felt prickly to the touch. She ran over to the bedroom mirror and stared in horror at the red hair that was sprouting from her upper lip, her chin, and her cheeks. Guys, I think something is really wrong. Only wrong came out in a voice much too deep for a 12-year-old girl. Suddenly, Sadie's forehead began to stretch grotesquely. Her nose grew to 3 times its size, and more red hair sprouted from her face, her neck, even the hair on her head. It was changing from its usual golden blonde to a darker, coarser red. By the way, I'm getting echo again in my mic. Her friend screamed as Sadie's bones began to snap and twist as they grew and lengthened away from her petite frame. Zoe got up to run from this sickly horror, but tripped over Lily's foot and went sprawling to the ground. Tia ran, stepping on Zoe's neck in her frantic race to the door, and breaking it with a dry cracking sound. She grabbed the doorknob and pushed, but in her panic she'd forgotten the door was a pull, so she remained trapped in the room. Juno couldn't move. She was frozen in horror, watching her best friend Sadie writhe as she began to change. Sadie's small child shoes began to bulge, then tear, and suddenly gigantic feet burst through them. One of Sadie's eyes remained terribly alert, and it fixated its panicky gaze onto Juno. Kill me, the freak that was once Sadie gurgled. Sadie stood up on her 2 long legs, and Juno watched in horror as her skin began to chafe off, first in huge, scaly patches, then in chunks. Finally, Sadie's skin seemed to split straight down the middle. Juno stared at her best friend, now over 6 feet tall, as she simply shrugged off her skin, molting like some sort of awful alien insect. Charles F. McDonald. God. Charles F. McDonald emerged from what was once Sadie's skin. Just putting your name in there fucking kills me for some reason. All right. Charles F. McDonald emerged from what was once Sadie's skin. The remnants of her clothes clung to Charles in tatters, no longer concealing his painful erection. Charles, looking slightly surprised. It's explained. Charles, looking slightly surprised and a little embarrassed, covered his throbbing member. I think it's like from the genie or like a change in air pressure or something, he said bashfully. The girls who were still alive screamed at him, with eyes that were void of sanity. There was blood and skin everywhere, the birthday balloons and the streamers dripping red. I can explain, Charles tried to reason. I just wanted to go someplace obscure, someplace other guys weren't allowed to go. The girl screamed again, and suddenly there was a thud of racing footfalls emanating from the hallway. Hank Prescott burst into the room, knocking over the girls that had piled up by the door. He stared at the large, bloody man in the center of the room, saw the intestines still draped around the man's neck, and the carnage splattered across the little girl's bedroom. Without saying a word, Hank reached into his back pocket and drew his revolver. Charles put his hands up in a pleading gesture, and in doing so revealed his erection, which caused the girls to again begin to scream. It was the genie! Top 5 lists! Obscure places! Charles tried to reason, but Hank had heard enough. He squeezed the trigger and put a bullet directly between Charles F. McDonald's eyes, ending his reign of terror for good.
Yay.
About time. Somebody had to do it.
And that's how you died.
Great.
You got to be careful what you wish for. It could easily turn into a monkey's paw situation.
Why have I had erections in 2 separate stories? What is happening?
You mean painful erections?
What is happening?
Key detail.
Yes. Just adds a little detail in there.
Well, this current gig was nice while it lasted. So.
Yep. It sure was. Charles, what the hell are we talking about today?
What are we talking about this week? This week, since we, just passed Valentine's Day, we're definitely on time for topics for this. We are doing a old, constant requested topic of top 5 dating stories.
Woohoo!
Yeah. These will be fun and entertaining from a bunch of mid to late 30-year-old men who are all in committed relationships.
Now, I was curious making this.
Mm-hmm.
When you say dating stories, did you go with positive stories, more negative stories, or just whatever the most interesting stories you thought were?
I went with, I think, what would be the most interesting, because I can tell you I haven't had a shit ton of like incredibly positive. I didn't tell the positive stories. So I have like mostly negative and weird. But even like their weird isn't like that weird. So
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Will.
I gather a guess that Charles has a date where he went running with a girl and she was too slow and he just ran, never saw her again. Fucking bitch.
This is Charles. This is Charles 4, 3, and 1.
yeah.
That's his test. My list, it was a little difficult. I went with just, notable stories. I've only dated seriously 2 people in my whole life, I think.
Are you
Maybe,
so you haven't
maybe 3?
you didn't even count like one-off dates, like shit like that?
No, I got one in there.
Okay.
It's the top of the list.
Yeah.
So
These are all not like these are all like my long-term relationship dates. I just have random shit on there through dating and stuff. So
yeah, I was lucky that I never had to deal with like today's day and age of online dating.
Tinder,
Never had to
Bumble.
use the apps.
I've been on.
I
actually
dabbled with them
Uh-huh.
before I got with Rosa because it was that time in
Mm.
the world. And boy, am I glad I didn't have to go through with that.
Yeah, I can tell you it's not.
What
it's
a
not great.
nightmare to just text strangers who turn out to be crazy.
Yeah, I have one of those dates on here. So that is one of mine. And then the other one, I can tell you didn't make the list, but long story short, honorable mention, she got drunk off of one drink and we were just meeting for drinks at 5 p.m. So it's a good
So
time.
she showed up drunk.
I guess.
That's what that means.
If so, that means she drove like from 3 hours away. So
You
Yeah.
must have had a saucy picture.
me, yes.
Yeah. You
I
sent
know
her
how
a
to
dick pic
represent
before
my-
the first date?
No, those do not exist out there. So
Yeah, let's get on Mid-Journey.
please don't.
We'll get him out there, Sam.
I don't need this in a algorithm of any kind.
Yes, I never experienced said apps, and again, like you said, well, I'm very glad to not. I have like a couple friends who are like kind of, I don't want to say constantly on them, but like I've got one friend in particular who always seems to be like meeting and dating a new girl. He's like just looking for love and just hasn't really been able to find it, but he's always on the apps, and we're always like, oh, where'd you meet this girl? And he's just like, the apps. And how long did it last? 1 date, 2 dates. That's it.
Mumble, mumble, stumble, fumble.
Yeah. Whatever happened to
Smells
just
like
meeting
fish.
someone out in the world? Smells like soup.
Yeah, I'm not mentally equipped for apps. So luckily I met my wife old school style by her being a friend of my ex-girlfriend.
I mean, that's honestly the best way to meet somebody, in my opinion. That's how I tell people anybody. any of the people I know who are single, I'm just like, just go out, go places, find them there. If you want a hot tip, go to a climbing gym. I'm not kidding. There are people out there who are just pick up a new hobby and catch people that way. The fun pun for any climbers out there. So,
Nice.
Good way to climb up someone's ass.
that too.
Yep.
Unless you want to drop them right on your head, then you can just right up there. So
Yep.
yeah. Anybody really hankering to start?
Sure, I'll kick it off.
Let's do it.
There you go.
So my number 5 is going to be a sweet little date I came up with when I was first with Rosa, maybe in the first year or so. And it was going kayaking in the Charles River of Boston. And
Yeah.
it was a delightful afternoon, perfect weather. You get out there. She was not real familiar with kayaking. I don't know if she had been ever or not. But we both got in without tipping over, which was a plus because the Charles River is not known to be the cleanest.
No.
But boy, does it deliver some great sights to paddle up and down. And as a little extra on the date, I purchased 2 disposable film cameras.
Aw.
So throughout the day, we took our pictures with it and had them developed later on. And of course, they were all terribly framed and bad photos, but that's the way it used to be. You didn't get a million chances to take the perfect shot and sit there and play with filters and whatever. It was kind of old schoolish 90s style date night, and we had a great time. I went and got food somewhere in the city, but it was the kayaking and the cameras that made it all.
Nice.
That's very sweet.
It's very cute. It's very.
It is. I guess if people are looking for, like what are some good options for dates to go on, that would be one of them. I don't have too many of those on my list, but Will, if you got them, I think that's what we desperately need. So I love that. Do you still have the photos framed?
I have no idea. We did get them developed, which is, if you're a person of our age, that's half the battle of using those disposable cameras is putting them in a drawer forever or getting them developed.
Yeah,
and actually seeing the photos.
I can tell you, as cleaning out my car a couple of years ago, there was a disposable camera. We had two for like a tubing trip, and we lost one, and we only had the other one. We never got them. We never got them made, and then eventually I just found it in the back of my car and went, I can see what these photos are, or I could just throw it away. And then I just threw it away. So I have no idea. I have no idea if those were like nice photos or not, but don't need them.
Monster. What a monster.
Yeah. No, they're in the garbage now. Where am I going to take that camera?
Any CVS, they still do it. All of them.
It was literally one of those ones in the enclosed waterproof case. Like, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah, the little tube. Yeah, they still take those.
Oh, well. It's gone now.
Or just send them to Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll use my dark room.
I'm sure he's got a dark room, right by his pod loft.
Almost all of them, someone's fingers over top because we were plastered that whole tubing trip. So, yeah.
You get the photos back. They all look very nice, and then there's just Sam on a velvet chase lounge. A la Costanza.
Listen, that one's worth framing. Yeah, well, if you're looking for a romantic gift for an anniversary coming up or something, find those photos, get them framed.
There you go.
Yep, boom. Very good.
Nice.
I guess I'll go next. I started negative.
Okay.
And I started negative and went weird, and then we'll get to the cute stuff later. My number 5 is question. Should I name these girls or just?
I wouldn't.
Yes.
Full
First,
names?
middle, and last.
How I was just labeled throughout a story puts me in a question.
Or just their Instagram handle's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with meeting my then girlfriend's family for the first time / the day we broke up / Merry Christmas.
Jesus.
Sounds familiar.
So I dated this girl for a pretty short time. I think we were only dating for like 2 or 3 months, but for whatever reason, one of the many things wrong with our relationship was that she would never ever come to where I am. I always had to go travel to her, which was pretty far away. She lived like an hour away. And so, Christmas Day, I got up and still living with my parents at the time, did Christmas with them, and then got in the car and started driving. Drove to her house, picked her up, brought her to her family's party. It was my first time meeting any of them. And that was fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with meeting the family. We had like a good time. We had dinner, all that stuff. And then I was like, after, I don't know, I was probably there for 3 hours or so, 3 to 4 hours at the family party. And I was like, hey, I gotta like start heading back because I gotta drop you off, and then I need to drive minimum 1 hour to, back to my house. And we got into the car, and about halfway back to her house, she had a total meltdown. And it was something to do with how like I had to leave like her family's party early, and she basically said like, pull the car over and drop me off right now.
Sure.
So I was
there
like,
you go.
okay. And I said, fine. Well, I was like, well, we were on the highway, so I was like, I'll get off at this next exit. And I dropped her off at some strip mall or something like that, and never saw her again.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
I think at that point, I'd been in, like, I don't want to say so many relationships, but I had been in like a handful of relationships that were like not great, and like definitely ones that I had stayed in for too long. And this one I was like, all right, giant red flag. Time to immediately take action and not try to push this any further than it has to be. So it was just a really weird day of literally meeting your entire family, celebrating Christmas, giving her like gifts, all that stuff, and then immediately breaking up and never seeing her again.
Nicely done.
I would be so mad. All those awkward introductions that, I think we're on the same page. Like, having to go through all that bullshit and minutia of placating people. And, well, what do I do? Oh, well, I take pictures of dogs. And, what? That's weird. Okay, fine. Good for you. And, yeah, okay. And you put in all that effort for nothing.
Nothing. Yep. It would be weird if I had took pictures of dogs back then. At the time, I was just a lowly worker on the Apple totem pole. But yes, it was definitely a memorable date. Not a great one, but a memorable one. So that is my number 5. And Merry Christmas.
Did you at least check if she's still alive, or do you think she perished that night at the strip mall?
No. She got what she wanted.
I believe she is among the living.
That's good. That's believable. It's believable. You keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
I would have loved to hear the conversation at the next family party. What happened to your boyfriend?
Oh my God.
And her having to probably lie her way out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a psycho. He tried to rape me on the way home.
Jesus Christ.
I had to have him drop me off on the side of the road. And you believe he did it?
Yeah, the actual conversation was something like drop me off right now or I'm going to break the car window. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is my new car. This car is new, and you're crazy, so goodbye. Oh,
right.
They get better from here, kind of.
You were committed to that car for at least 60 months. Not her.
You're not wrong.
My number 5 is this is an interesting approach I'm taking to this one. I'm calling this one, I have a title for each of mine. This one's the surprise third wheel. And this came to mind for me because I was at home on like a Friday. So me and my buddies would usually like drive around for some fucking reason. Like drive down to Fredericksburg. If you're from this area, Alexandria to Fredericksburg is a fucking hike. But I got a text, and that's like what we did. We just drove around. We didn't hang out at like people's houses and stuff. So he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go down to Fredericksburg. Do you want to come along?" And I was like, sure, yeah, I'm not doing shit." And he's like, "Great, we'll pick you up." I didn't pick up on the wool. When he pulls into my parents' driveway to pick me up, he has his date with them. They just left from dinner. I've already committed to going out because I'm already in the truck and didn't pay attention to someone in the front seat. So I now got to take a fucking ride with them on their date to Fredericksburg. This whole time just been like, great. I really wish I was told about this because also I wouldn't put myself in this situation. But we go down to like fucking Sonic or something like that. I can't remember any of the events from being picked up, transpiring, to going down there and coming back. I was probably also high during this time because I was very much in the weed. They don't exist here, dude. They didn't exist here in the 2000s, all right? So we had one and you had to go to Fredericksburg, all right? We're strictly a Wendy's, McDonald's, and Taco Bell town, apparently. But yeah, we could, on the way back, so my buddy, one of my best friends, at the time, he's in this whole like prospect. He wants to be like an EMT firefighter person type thing like that. So he has like emergency first responder stuff. He has driven an ambulance before, but he's not allowed to like work on people type thing. We're on the way there. A wreck just happened on the side of the road. Not a major wreck, but stuff on the side of the road. And he decides to pull off and put on his safety vest and get out of the car and act like Mr. Safety Man. I've seen him do this shit before. And I got to sit in the car with his date, and he's doing this whole thing. And I say out loud to her, and I'm like, I'm just letting you know he does this shit all the time, and it's crazy performative. It's not the best wingman move, but I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I want to go home. I did. I buried one of my best friends. And you know what? They went on like 3 more dates after that. I wasn't on any of them. But yeah, it clearly didn't work out. Probably because, do you want to go on a date with someone and then they like, even if their best friend is invited, clearly it wasn't going well if I was invited to go along with this date. But yeah, are you going to date someone who decides to pull over on a highway at like 11 p.m. for an accident that doesn't need help?
You go out to a restaurant with him and he just gives somebody the Heimlich who didn't need it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my number 5. It's very late. I really had to try and figure out random shit to put in here, but that one immediately popped into my mind because I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. I've been a third wheel many times before because I had one of those friends whose girlfriend had to come everywhere. I don't know if anyone has one of those friends. If you're one of those friends, stop it. It's exhausting, and your buddies don't want to hang out with your girlfriend.
You just got to be upfront about it.
Yeah, unless they're awesome.
Is it a girl's thing or not?
Yeah. So, no, I had another friend who liked to do that. So, yeah, it's not my first time being a third wheel, but this was the one time I was surprised being it. So, it's my number 5.
And that's how you met Jess.
That would be a pretty cool fucking story.
I'm going to end every one of your stories with that. Let's just see how it works out. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Nice. Back to me, number 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay, since we're going to title him, I'm going to call this one The Stand-Up Girl from the Corner Pocket.
All right.
Corner Pocket being a local pool hall / bar, shitty dive bar in Plastow, New Hampshire. It's called something else now. I think the Crow's Nest. But I was there one day in my early 20s and drinking with the boys as usual, playing some pool. And there was this girl signed up for the open mic and did like 5 minutes of stand-up comedy. And I thought that was so cool. And I started talking to her and we hit it off. We were talking all night, and then I got her cell phone number. And this was back in the days when cell phones were not very robust. I think it was a flip phone. The very next day, I broke my phone and lost the number forever.
No.
And I was talking with my brother-in-law Justin on the way to. We were going to school the next day at North Shore Community College in Matt's hometown of Lynn there. And I was like, yeah, man, I like that girl, and I'm never gonna find her again. And of course, I hadn't seen her forever until I started talking to someone else who ended up being my ex-girlfriend. We went to the same place months later, and as we were leaving for the night, I'm walking out in the parking lot, and here comes stand-up comedy girl, walks up to me and my date for the night, and she goes, "Hey, I gave you my number, and you never fucking called me." And like she was, kind of crass like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
Look, I'm so sorry. Like, I broke my phone the next day. I was trying to find your, and I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, "Oh, well, do you want it now?" And I'm standing there next to this other girl, and I'm like, I can't. Even though I so badly wanted to say yes. And I should have. So who knows what might happen. But yeah, that was just, that was quite funny. It's kind of one of those points you look back on. It's like, what if I showed up there by myself that night?
Yeah.
What if I didn't drop the phone?
I think that's your sliding doors moment.
Sure. Yeah.
to use a modern reference.
I don't even know
What sliding doors? That. No, does nobody know that movie? Okay, sorry.
No.
At least one person listening laughed. That's a movie with a Gwyneth Paltrow where like in one reality she like catches a subway train, and the other one she misses it, and she has two completely different lives because of it. You see them both play out because of that one thing. That's Will's sliding doors moment.
So, I just assumed it was a good reference. I'll stick with it. It sounds good.
Yeah.
But it was just such an awkward moment to I did like the slow look like at each one of them.
Yeah.
Like, I could say yes and lose this one forever.
You should have asked her. You should have been like, "What do you think?" To see it.
Give your number to her.
Yeah.
I'll get it from her later.
Oh yes, the problem is too many women. Problem we all have, right? Am I right? All right.
Yeah. We're swimming in it. And what? Who knows?
Swimming in women.
All right. All right. I'll title my number 4. Open my beer, 13-year-old. So, the girl that I dated in high school, her parents were in a band that was basically like Gwar.
Incredible.
So they were definitely like kind of big around like the local Boston scene, like in the 80s. And you can, if you Google them, you can see photos of exactly how fucked up this is. They were called the Bentmen. And weirdly enough, they had like a number of people in that band that were like relatively famous musicians. Adrian Blue and Reeves Gabrels, who were both guitarists for David Bowie, were both prior to playing with Bowie in this band, which is fucking wild. So, anyways, one of the first times I meet this girl's dad, I meet him very briefly, and he's coming out of I think it was like a school or something. And I remember it was like election day 2000. So it was like coming out of like a voting booth, and I met him very quickly, and he was like, "Oh, nice to meet you, nice to meet you." He's like this big kind of tough guy, and I was like, "Oh, that's your dad, all right." And then very shortly afterwards, the girl I'm dating is like, "Do you want to go with me to my parents' concert?" And I'm like, "Yes," knowing nothing about what this is going to be like. And so it's at this like disgusting, like crazy bar in Boston. It's like decently big for what it is, but it's also not like a major venue. It's just some bizarre, music venue. And we're in the back where her parents are getting dressed, and her dad, who's this like, again, like this big dude, is like putting on this like oversized stuffed pink spandex like suit and like a pig mask. You know what I mean? Like he's, if you know anything about Gwar, just like picture any one of those sorts of outfits. He's getting dressed into that, and I'm back there and I'm 13, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening right now? And he's like, "Hey, can you get me a beer?" And I was like, okay. And then like I grab him like a bottle of beer, and he's like, "All right, just open up that beer for me. Like I got my costume on or whatever. It's hard for me to open it." And I was like, I don't know how to open this bottle. Like I've never had to use a bottle opener before. I don't drink beer. All of my stuff comes in like a fucking a silver packet that you stab a straw into. Like that's what I drink. So he got like pretty annoyed that I couldn't open it, which was kind of funny. And he did wind up apologizing later for it. And he's like, "Sorry, I was just like I was all jazzed up, like, beforehand." And just the whole night. And then I watched them perform, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? It's just like they're spraying like foam into the room, and like, everyone's dressed in costume. There's just like smoke machines everywhere. It was the weirdest night. And then I had to continue to see that man as like a regular person after that for the next however like couple of years or whatever. And I went to a number of his shows, and it was always like that. You just never knew exactly what to expect. But yeah, that was kind of my introduction to her family, and a really weird and memorable date.
So can I see them at the Topsfield Fair this year? Or?
Man, if they were still performing, I would say like, yeah, just go, just so you can at least know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I don't think that they performed in like 10 years or something, because obviously they're much older now. They got to be in their late 60s.
They looking them up, there's Bent Men, a sonic and visual assault on the senses.
Yep,
Which
that sounds right.
That's exactly what you want. If you just go to their website, they have an hour-long like video on YouTube, and then just I think their last February 9th, 2018.
Yeah,
I am so confused by this.
they were pretty weird people.
They're available on YouTube, Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Music. So
I actually haven't like listened to their music in 25 years or whatever at this point, and I'm very curious if it's like actually listenable.
I clicked into 2 parts of the video, and it's just
Yeah.
Did you say
Just
a
fucking
chronic
noise.
assault on your senses?
sonic.
Sonic assault.
Sonic and visual assault on the senses.
That is not how I would describe something that is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Interesting people. That guy was also like a landlord for like a lot of people. So it's just like he's got his like serious business suit, and then like he's, you know, dressed as like a pig monster playing a hammered dulcimer in like a club.
Sounds exactly like the kind of guy who would have been in the front row of the midget wrestling show. Spending all that landlord money.
He probably would be the promoter for it. Is really that would be his gig.
God.
Anywho, that's my number 4.
Nice. My number 4 is, this is probably one of the last ones before I started dating Jess, and this is called the Bumble Clinger. This is someone I met on.
Okay.
This is someone I met on.
I just remembered
Bumble.
Bumble was an app.
Yeah, someone I met on Bumble, and to be fair, I recognize him because they used to be the barista at one of the coffee places I went to, right? And I thought, like, you know, she's cute. Maybe she's like, actually, like, I want to get to know this person type thing. So we like match. Immediately, like, we're kind of like chatting back and forth through like texting. And then I like the week it's like we're talking 1 week. By the way, I've never met this. I'm gonna preface this in saying we never went on a date in this whole scenario, but this is gonna span a couple different sections of time, right? So the week we match, the next week, I'm going to be taking a trip up to Boston to go run a 24-hour race, which is where I met and started dating the Southie girl, you know, the one who dropped the Dropkick Murphys Eskimo Bro link on me. That almost made that, but I've already told that story. The week I'm up there, I get a text every morning at like 6:30 a.m. saying like, good morning, how are you doing? Every day, like, and I'm not responding at this point because I'm busy doing other things. And it keeps constantly going, and like I'm on my drive back, which like I guess I at some point told her the days I was driving, like going up and coming back. And then like on my drive home, she is like bombarding me with text where I'm like, you're just throwing every red flag before. We've never talked on the phone. We've only texted, and she's taken my drink order. I can tell you that much. Like, that is what she knows about me. To the point where I go, hey, I'm not into this right now. Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm talking with someone else now who's clearly not crazy. Boy, I was wrong on that part. So that all happens, right? Like, that goes away. I guess she like followed me on Instagram or something like that, or like secretly tracked me around, because once me and that girl stopped dating, I have to keep saying this because that person said we weren't dating at the time. She starts texting me right after like I guess the traces of like this person has disappeared from my like feed and stuff. And I'm like, oh okay, I'll start doing that. And then like I was like, I'm stupid enough to be like, all right, let's just see if we can get some action out of this at least, because I'm a lonely person and I I want some attention. Um, the minute I respond to one of her texts, she asks, she asked me to send a photo of myself, which I was like, that's a weird request. I'm not gonna do that. I was out on a walk with my dog. I took a photo from my POV walking the dog. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just out like walking the dog. And she goes, no, I want to see a photo of you. Like you as a person. I went, that's a little weird. I'm not gonna send you a photo. I'm ignoring red flags still. I keep chatting with her. She does the same thing the next morning. And the day after that.
Oh.
And the day after that. To where the point go, I don't know if you've ever dated someone before, but you've never met me in person, and you're being way too clingy to someone you've never met. So I'm gonna stop talking to you now, and I'm gonna leave your phone. I'm gonna leave your number in my phone as a reference to know to never contact you. And that's the last text I sent to her. And that was one of 2 Bumble dates I ever went on, but it was one of those things of just like, you're clearly a nice person, but I think you need to figure your shit out, because you're being a little. If you've never met someone, don't immediately be that clingy to them to where you're sending multiple texts, which I've been guilty of. But if you're sending multiple texts over days time and they're still not responding, it's a little too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be out of touch. I could be very wrong in this scenario, but
You are out of touch because today you're supposed to lead with a dick pic.
Oh, well, all I know is I will always remember no, send me a photo of you. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Did she not know what you looked like?
I don't know.
I
had photos on Bumble.
Okay,
so,
that was my question.
Yeah.
I was assuming that you had photos on Bumble,
Yeah.
which is kind of. I mean, I don't know. One request might have been cute,
Multiple times.
but multiple ones gets a little red flaggy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and to borrow the phrase, like you said, Charles, it was quite the bombardment. Is that right?
That's a bitch, son. Bombardment. Knock it off. Bombardment.
Sorry. That's all I could think of as soon as you said bombardment.
Bombardment. Yeah, that was a nice little red flag also for me to go like, oh yeah, sometimes don't be the crazy person. Like when you actually kind of encounter it the other way around, you're like, okay, now I know how to act like a sane person when talking to someone. So, but yeah, it's my number 4. Wasn't even an actual date. Never got to meet the person. They could have been lovely. I don't know, but they are an awful texter. Awful. So,
R.I.P.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure he or she is doing very well nowadays.
Oh, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with
I would have
that.
said they, but I think that's illegal now under Trump.
Only if you work in the federal government and you put it on your email.
Yeah, you can't have it in your email signature. That'll fix America.
Oh yeah.
Egg prices are going down. $8.33 a dozen.
Really?
I paid
$8?
$8.30. I paid $8 for eggs today.
I saw
Wow.
them.
I
saw them at 11 something or other the
Oh.
other day. It was closer to Boston, but I saw them. I was like, well, I will never be buying eggs again.
Yeah,
But I did
would
go
say
to
the other day they were $4. I don't know.
no.
Market Basket.
Oh,
they're
the fucking Market Basket kid.
Basket.
If you're not going to Market Basket, you're doing something wrong.
Although I have been buying them the 5 dozen packs at BJ's Wholesale Club. And
Oh,
those
do you
are-
wait? Are you the one who waits in line for those?
No, God, no. I will not wait in line for eggs. But
Like the guys running in for Pokemon cards.
yep,
Oh my God.
Christ. But yeah, as a guy that like generally would eat between 4 to 6 eggs a day, It's getting pricey.
I can see that.
Yeah, I'm cutting back on using eggs now. To be like, well, just gonna eat a lot more yogurt and oatmeal for breakfast. So
Jeez.
there we go. We covered our current events. Eggs.
Yay, eggs. Fuck you.
Thanks, Obama.
That's what happens. All right, William.
Where are we at? My number 3?
You're number 3.
My number 3, we're going to call Toby Keith Girl. So, I may have talked about this on the show before, but one time I was out in Chicago and working out there with a couple of guys who were all excited because Toby Keith was coming to town at Orland Park. They had a little amphitheater there, very nice venue. They're like, oh, we got to go to the show. You know, he's here, we're here, why not? And I'm like, I don't like country music. They're like, no, you got to come to the show. I'm like, I don't really like country music. I don't want to go to the show. We're buying you a ticket. You're coming to the show. Okay, fine. I'll go to the show. So the morning of, they give me a call to come down. He's in the work truck out front. Unbeknownst to them, I went to Walmart earlier in the day, and I bought red, white, and blue shorts, which were actually like boxers, but I wore them as shorts. A plain white tee with the American flag, as a lot of stores annually come out with. I got some red, white, and blue Hawaiian leis, a cowboy hat, of course, and some Sharpies. And I wrote on the back of my shirt that Toby Keith was, in fact, number 1. So put on all my regalia, went out to the truck, and they almost didn't let me in the truck, even though the ticket was paid for. I come out with I probably had a beer in my hand, and I'm going, woo, let's go, fucking spring break, motherfuckers. So we roll up to the show, and, you know, I'm not a fan of country music, but I'm a fan of a good time. And I'll tell you, country music shows, no matter where they're at, it could be Midwest, up north, down south, it's a good time. People are there to have fun. The girls are dressed as they are. It was a very rainy day, and this was kind of like not the Tweeter Center, but whatever it's called in Mansfield here, the amphitheater where it's half, you have lawn seats, you have under the cover seats, and so half the people there were just soaking wet in their white t-shirts. Crazy fun day. We're sitting there watching the show. Music's blasting, the light show's amazing, and I'm fucking screaming my head off. Wee, Toby Keith, I fucking love you. You're the number 1 motherfucker, Toby Keith. And the girl behind me goes, "That's not Toby Keith. That's the opening act." And I'm like, "Oh, whatever. Fucking Toby Keith's friend. You're my friend too." Needless to say, I just made a mockery of the whole event, but having a good time myself. And this girl just kept throughout the show, started pinching me in the bottom from behind, and I ignored it, you know, as one should, at the first notice of sexual assault. But she kept on, and she kept on, and finally I whirled around and I looked and there was this girl there with her, like, seemingly her aunt or something. And I looked her aunt dead in the eyes and I go, "You better stop that, ma'am." It was a brilliant move. So I turned back around, and of course it continued. The girl, she pinched me again. And finally we turn around, we start talking. I get her number. And we ended up hanging out the next day. Took her out to dinner, and we went back to my hotel and had a good time. And then we were talking a little further, and she's like, "Oh, so, you know, when do you want to meet up again?" I'm like, "Well, I'm leaving for Boston tomorrow, and I don't think I'll ever be back here."
So where did you meet her? Because I thought it was the Tweeter Center.
No, it was in Orland Park, Chicago.
Oh, okay. So it was like the Tweeter Center.
It was an amphitheater like the Tweeter Center with the lawn seats and the underneath.
I like how both of us are
I was
calling
underneath
it the Tweeter Center, which it hasn't been called since the 90s. But okay, all right. So yes, Chicago. And is this the story of your second family?
Could be.
Will and his 6 kids from Chicago.
This was immediately in between my ex-girlfriend and my current wife. So it was my last kind of hurrah as a wild child.
You know what? I don't think I've ever been pinched by a stranger.
Oh, I
I was gonna say by Chris Hansen. Or...
you've never been molested in like a pit before.
Actually,
like,
you know what?
at a show?
All right.
Because I have.
So the one
Are there a
time,
lot of queers in mosh pits?
the one time that I was molested by someone at a show, she was much older, and I did not want it to happen. I was at and the weird thing is I was at karaoke with a friend of mine. She was like come to
You dragged her
karaoke
there.
with me. I was with Kaylee. I was with Kaylee and my friend Megan, who was it was like I think it was her birthday party at karaoke or something, and there was this like this older Latino woman that just like would not stop hanging all over me, and I was like, this is getting so weird. And that's the story of my second family.
That kind of happened to me on my 21st birthday. I had this older Brazilian woman that was like I was dancing with, and we were hitting it off, and it was getting kind of steamy, even though her like 8-year-old child was there too.
Nice.
Yeah, watch out for them Latina milfs.
Yep. That's the story of Will's third family. I'm just gonna keep this bit going. All right.
I've always wanted 5 families.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. My number 3. We're getting into the nicer category. My number 3 is just my first date with Kaylee.
Oh,
Aw.
yeah.
Yuck.
So we also had a mutual friend. It was Tom.
From MySpace?
Yes, from MySpace.
Oh, okay.
We were all. I was friends with him.
Oh yeah, our mutual friend.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd messaged her on MySpace and said like, hey, do you want to go to this concert with me? And weirdly enough, she said yes. And so we met up at TT the Bear's place. I don't know if Willie ever saw a show at TT's. It was a good venue. It's in Cambridge, right by the Middle East. Which is probably
I've been to the Middle East.
okay, which I don't think is there either anymore. Anyways, so yeah, it was actually one of my favorite artists. His name is Blue, Bleu, and he
Like
was
the cheese.
like the cheese, and yeah, he was playing a show there, and we saw that together, and it was great. Obviously, we hit it off. We went and played some pool afterwards, and she absolutely fucking destroyed me in pool. And just got some pizza, and it was just like a really nice, like, first date, which I had like definitely not had a lot of like regular like, let's just go for like a nice date. Just never for whatever reason had a lot of that. So, it was obviously a memorable one. We also did. I had my camera with me, and I took a couple photos of Kaylee that night, but in not a creepy way.
Sure.
That is fucking weird.
Sure.
Because I think we were talking about our mutual interest in photography. So it is interesting that I have like some decent quality photos from the very first night that we met, some 15 years ago at this point. It's
Wow.
fucking bananas.
That's wonderful.
I'm surprised that they had digital cameras back then.
I was gonna guess that you guys have been together longer than that.
Yeah, I ask her every year how long we've been together for, and she never knows.
Every year.
Yeah, I'm like, it's our
Put it on your fucking calendar.
I know. Well, I'm like, it's our anniversary today, and she always says, it is? And I'm like, yeah, do you know how many years we've been together? She's like, 12? I'm like, try 15.
You know why she doesn't care? It's because it's not a wedding anniversary.
Yeah, that's right. Seriously, if we get married one day, I don't know what date we're gonna start to celebrate. Do we start over? Is it no longer 15 years? Do I have to say like it's our 1-year anniversary? Because then it just sounds puts a way different spin on things.
It's very different. If she's nice like Rosa was for me, she picked a date that's easy to remember. For me, it's 5/21/21. So it's minimal memory required.
Is that easy to remember?
It's very important.
521.
Yeah,
Like-
it's basically two numbers.
But like 1, 1,
But it's
1.
technically it's made up of 3 numbers.
Wow. I'm highly advanced. I consider double-digit numbers one number.
But yeah, there's not too much more to say. It was very sweet meeting Kaylee, because the first thing I noticed about her is she has a high squeaky chipmunk voice.
No.
And
Adoring squeaky chipmunk.
No,
voice.
that's come
Yeah.
on. You give up the ghost. That's for radio and all the appearances and stuff. She really has like the deepest voice ever.
Yep.
Right when she gets off camera, it's like, oh, I can't stand taking photos of these dogs.
Oh, fucking dogs, am I right?
Get Mama's prying bar.
So yeah, we had a nice show, played some pool, had some pizza, took a couple photos, and yeah, obviously it was a very important date, so it had to make my list.
I do regret to inform you, TT the Bear's place is permanently closed. I believe it's now known as Sonia's.
They did close down, and
Sonia.
they were selling all of their like everything that they owned. They just like had like a yard sale or something, and so I bought a glass from them before they went under to commemorate the place where we met.
There you go.
Aw,
Oh,
that's wonderful.
all right.
Nice.
That's my number 3.
All right. My number 3 is titled Vomit.
Nice.
I have no.
Is the time you dated the dog from Full House's cousin?
Yeah, they rhyming names. That's the way they do it. Comet and vomit.
Oh. So this was I went on a couple dates with this girl, and it's a girl I met playing Pokemon Go, and
You fucking loser.
You can meet people through
yeah,
that
because
app.
back
I didn't
before
think there was a chat function.
back before COVID, people would use like apps like GroupMe or WhatsApp, where you could have a community of people where people would meet up and actually do stuff like play in person together. And it helped that I was probably the best looking guy in the whole group, because like
Not hard to do.
not yeah, honestly it's not, especially 2019 me, because that was ultra runner 100-miler training. Like, look, I had a good look going on at that point.
Wait,
Better now.
16 ounces lighter.
Count it more like 20, but thank you.
But this was post fat Charles.
Very much so. I am considered fat now compared to that frame. I was small, but anyways, I went on a couple dates with this girl. Very nice person. She was apparently in the Air Force, Navy, one of those two. I don't remember which one. She was having like her promotion thing, and we had our date, and then it was like that. She, like afterwards, she had to go to her promotion thing, and like our date went well, so I just decided to like tag along to this, and it's like a bar crawl with like her other people in her crew. It was all like kids fresh into the military type thing, and so they're getting fucking plastered. I don't drink that off. Even at this point, I don't drink that much. She's being fed drinks as well. It goes on for like a couple hours, and then I'm her ride home. I'm sober because I only had we went to like 3 different bars, so I had like a drink at each bar. Drove her home. On the drive home, she quickly rolls down my window and pukes out and onto the side of my car. Which I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I'm a nice person. Just like, this happens to people. And then when she comes back into the car, sits back, and goes, I hope you weren't hoping to make out later. And I was like, no, I wasn't to begin with, because I'm like a nice person. This person's clearly drunk, but like to have the self-awareness while you're drunk to go, oh, I hope you weren't hoping to make out later type situation just kind of like stuck with me, to have that type of confidence to say that. And no, we didn't make out later or ever because we only had like 2 other dates after that. But yeah, really, really well. We're at a 15-minute warning right now. You think we're gonna what?
Breaking the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth? Who cares? To our like 3 listeners in the Discord. Oh my God, Daniel Sepultura is typing a list.
All right, all right.
This is why we
it
made
worked.
this episode. But yeah, that's my number 3. That's about it. She threw up on my car. I had to clean off my car at midnight because I'm not leaving that on my car.
Yeah.
And it's a white car too.
Oh,
so
no.
that was a nice look.
You didn't have like a confetti colored car, just like busy designs on the outside of it.
Camo is
Just a bunch of neon brown.
yeah.
A quick one-off date story is I took my current wife Rosa to my cousin's wedding in Dallas, Texas, and on the way back in our shuttle, she threw up inside of somebody's purse.
Oh,
And it
surprise!
smelled pretty bad.
Somebody's
long trip.
Just zip it back up.
Oh,
Yep.
that's my number 3.
I never want to throw up
Vomit.
again. No, I have no interest in throwing up.
That's good.
I can throw up on command.
Oh my god.
Do it. Do it right now.
See,
Do it right now.
I haven't eaten. I would have to eaten recently.
Oh, come on.
Good lord.
You
I'm
did-
serious.
You didn't want to
Let me
set
go-
us up.
All right, give me 3 minutes. Let me go make some ramen noodles. Cut up a couple Slim Jims in there.
Oh,
So much goddamn sodium. Yeah, I've never had anyone puke on a date.
trying to think if there was any other time. Sorry. There definitely guaranteed was because I also dated someone who was a drunk. Oh my God. That might be. I might switch my number 2 just now because I just remembered something.
Fantastic. All right. Will, you're
Yeah.
number 2, sir.
My number 2 doesn't involve that much vomit.
Just a little.
And I really never had that many bad dates. I would have loved to make a list of all shitty experiences, but I never really had them. So my number 2 is going to be my first big date with Rosa. It was maybe like the 3rd or 4th date in. I wanted to do something extra special, so I made us reservations at Davio's in Chestnut Hill. Very nice place. It's also attached to a Showcase Cinema's Superlux Theater. And the whole draw, the draw to that for me was that you can go to Davio's, which is a nice Italian steakhouse, have a great meal. You can go to the movie theater, which is like a high-end, like very nice chairs with tables and all that, full service menu of Davio's inside the movie theater.
Oh, shit.
So I plan this date out in my head ahead of time, like this is going to be fucking perfect. And take her all the way out here. We'll have a nice meal. We'll go to the movie theater, get dessert in the theater because it has the same menu in there, and enjoy whatever. I don't even remember the movie. It was forgettable, whatever it was. But what ended up being the memorable part of this whole night was, I don't know if, Sam, if you've ever been to a Davio's, they come by at the end of your meal with the dessert cart.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosa, come to find out, was so enamored by this because she had never seen that or never experienced that. And I shooed the cart away. 'Cause I thought I had it planned out. We're going to get dessert in the theater. And I thought that was a great idea. Apparently not. I have not lived this down even today. Because according to her, the dessert that she wanted wasn't on the movie theater menu.
Oh,
And
no.
she really wanted to take it off of the cart to get that experience.
Yeah.
And I ruined it. So I went and spent, I don't know, it was probably like a $350 fucking date. And all I got out of it was, I can't believe you fucking shoot the dessert cart away on me.
Incredible.
We're like, what, 7 years from there now?
Yep.
I still hear about it.
Listen, that is an experience having that thing
Yeah.
wheeled up to you. They do that at the Be Our Guest, like the Beast Castle restaurant in at Disney as well. And it's quite the feeling where you're like, I couldn't possibly, and then they stroll up with a cart, and you're like, oh,
I could do
Yeah.
some cheesecake. Yeah.
I gotta pick one thing, right?
Yeah.
What do you got? Cannolis on there? Oh shit!
I mean, you brought them all the way over here, so yeah.
But I thought I had it all planned out. I thought I was brilliant. I'm like, oh, you get the dessert in the theater. You have your nice little tray. Everything's great. Nope.
Nope.
If it doesn't come off a fucking little fucking steel cart from Uline with a tablecloth over it,
Oh my god.
Now, do you remember
doesn't count.
Do you remember which movie you saw?
I was gonna. This was my next question.
No, and that's why I said it earlier. I go, this overshadowed the whole night.
What?
I don't remember anything except her being upset about the dessert
Okay.
cart.
I was gonna ask, what dessert did you think you were gonna get in the movie theater that would have
See,
topped
and that's the
whatever
thing,
was
I don't care
on
about dessert.
this cart? Okay.
Regardless of my stature, I'm not a sweets guy. So I don't really care. I was like, I'll have a bite of whatever she wants. And no, it didn't work out.
That was the iciest viewing of Juana Man if that's if ever existed.
I got to look back and see what movie that could have been. It wasn't good.
How could it have been?
Or I think at that point I was so upset that she was giving me attitude. I just could not enjoy the movie.
I love that
drove
you
an
got-
hour here.
I love that you got
$200
another
dinner.
date out of it. Like that was your first date, and that y'all are married now at this point. But the fact that you got another date out of it, she was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Well, she knew what she had. Lovable oaf. The effort was there.
Yep. Awesome. Very nice. Very nice. My number two, I had to pick. I had to pick some sort of like good, memorable date that that Kaylee and I have been on, because we've done so many things. It's crazy, but I think one of the most memorable ones has got to be our first trip to Disney World.
Oh,
So I had never been to
It's
Disney.
my number one.
It's your number one?
Disney World with Kaylee.
And her
It's damn
her,
close though.
her second family.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Oh, it's good. It's good. So I had never been to Disney as a child. Kaylee had been, and she had worked there, for a short time when she lived in Florida and all that stuff. So she was a pro at it. But I got to experience all of it for the first time as an adult in my mid-20s, and it was great. Like, so we went very quickly for like a 1-day Disney trip, which was definitely very memorable. But the specific time I want to mention is the first time that we went there to do like multiple days, all the parks and everything. I got a message from her brother saying like, hey, if you want to get something for Kaylee for Christmas, I got a good deal on Disney like hotel and ticket combo or whatever. It's like, I think at the time it was like $1,500 or something like that, and it was for like 4 or 5 days, and so it was pretty elaborate, and it was to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which I believe now is like $700 a night, which is absolutely absurd. Certainly was not going to be able to afford anything like that back then, or now for that matter. But it was pretty cool. We got to, stay at this Animal Kingdom Lodge and have these animals directly outside of our patio. So they have like giraffes walking around and shit like that.
yeah, you mentioned this before. Like you could be on the balcony and they'd be fucking right there.
Yeah.
At your second level.
Yep, which is fucking wild. I remember Kaylee blasted through the room and right out to the back patio and looked for the animals, and she's like, I don't see anything, but there was like a huge pile of turds, and she's like, oh, big poops. She says, big poops mean big friends.
Big friends. It's a quote I remember.
Yes.
I love it.
So the big poops mean big friends quote came from there. And then it was cool because I got to experience like literally everything brand new for the first time for like 5 days in a row. And got to spend time with her brother and his wife and everything, who I didn't know like that well at the time. So it was definitely just very, very memorable. Had a great time. Very carefree. It seems like it's in another lifetime right now, based on like the state of the world at the moment. But we got a lot of great photos from that trip, video as well. I put together a little video compilation uploaded it to Facebook, and so it pops up every year on that day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could watch this again. So yeah, we've done so many things, but I think that one really stands out. It's just being like just a great, carefree, fun week. No drama, no mess, just like having a blast, enjoying the summer air, going on rides, eating food, and then seeing big poops.
I think about that often. Big poops mean big friends.
Yep. So, anyways, I saved the cute stuff for later in my list, so that's my number 2 there.
Oh, okay.
You can label
wonderful.
it big poops being big friends if you want.
Sure. Yep, happening now. Okay. So I've given you a gross one, a weird one, a clinger. I'm gonna give you a sad one that I just reminded myself of.
All right.
And it's only sad in a way. In hindsight, I find it actually quite hilarious. So this is someone I was dating for a long time. She went to my sister's wedding. Like, it was a committed relationship. The problem was this person had a drinking problem and had an addiction problem in general. She was well aware of it at the time. But yeah, so this, as it keeps going on, like, our relationship is deteriorating, but we're still trying to do like we're dating, we're going on dates and like stuff like that, like twice a week, doing all that stuff. We're like a month away from her birthday. We're trying to like loosely plan that, but we go to dinner and we decide to go see the movie Logan, the one about Wolverine. Quick question. Anybody cry watching Logan?
I don't remember. I saw it in
No?
the theater by myself.
Oh,
I loved the movie. I don't remember
Yep.
if I cried. Possible.
The only movie I've ever cried on was Homeward Bound.
okay.
Devastating.
Yeah. It's when
Ended
that
well.
dog, it's when the dog comes limping back in.
Yeah, when Shadow wasn't coming
Yeah.
over the hill.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus
Yep.
Christ, man.
Well, if you haven't seen Logan and you're listening to this, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but spoiler alert for Logan. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine dies at the end. And if you are like me, you grew up, your on-screen Wolverine has and only will be Hugh Jackman. So you're watching this like hero of a character die in front of your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just cry. I like cry, but I have like shaking uncontrollably, like something that was like took it over. And I'm telling you this now for the next thing that's about to happen. So we're outside. We're talking about like we're at the car. It's like 11:30 at night. We're like the only ones in the parking lot. It's a movie theater at the mall. We're talking about this coming up, and like, are we doing this and this? And she's like, oh, we're doing that? Like, we didn't talk about that. That stuff we did. She had a drinking problem. So she didn't remember that. And like, I just suddenly go like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Are we actually like dating anymore? Because like, it feels like we're just meeting up just to meet up. And at that point, we decided we're going to break up. And I can tell you this, I didn't shed a single tear over that breakup. I was more mad at myself, but I cried more at the movie Logan than I did over that relationship at the time.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know if it was like I got it out in the movie or just like you hit that point where you just like the curtain just kind of raises and goes, oh yeah, show's over. This has been over for a while, kid. So that was a nice way to end a date, to where we literally just got in our cars and just drove off, and it's the end of that chapter.
I think you probably had already dealt with the emotions of that prior to the occurrence, so that's
Right.
what made it easy.
But I
You
just
knew where it was going. You were just waiting for the right time, and
Yes.
and it happened.
yeah, it was the movie Logan.
Didn't end up in a Maury Povich episode, or I wish I had some of those. I really I didn't have any like bad girlfriends or anything because I never fucked around with crazy sluts.
I could give. So I audibled out one. I did audible that one out just so I have a little bit of everything. But at the end of this, I can give you a quick honorable mention of the audible I threw out, which I did title similar to a Maury Povich episode. So
no.
yeah, but yeah, that's my number 2. Logan.
Yeah, no, that's
Really?
a good one. For me, I think it's pretty similar. Like, not necessarily Logan specifically, or like Matt, like the Incredible Hulk. I don't think any Marvel characters have really done it for me that way. But like, just the right video paired with the right music will definitely make me cry.
If we did a top 5 movie scenes or anything that made you cry, I'd have a hard time picking what's happening because now it just happens.
Yeah.
I used to be cold-hearted, didn't cry at fucking shit. And then all of a sudden, I think it was this movie, all of a sudden just, I'm broken. Like,
Yep.
just like, yeah, I lose it.
I'll cry for any reason.
Watch-
Especially if it concerns a dog. Jesus Christ.
We watched
If he
Wild
spills a
Robot.
sippy cup.
Have y'all seen Wild Robot?
No, but
It's on Peacock. It's worth watching.
yeah.
At the end, I turned to Jess and went, "Are you emotional right now?" I'm weirdly emotional. I can't figure out why. And it's just because they're not doing anything incredible. It's the music, and it's just like basic hand-fed, like, this is going to make someone cry bullshit. And you're like, I got mad about it because it was too easy.
There's that show Shrinking I was mentioning, without any spoilers. There's just a scene where one of the characters puts his hand on another character's shoulder. That's it. And I lost it, but like they set it up in such a way where like it has that sort of emotional impact, and I'll cry way more over that than I will about a person. An aunt dies or something. I'm like, oh man, that's such a bummer.
Yeah.
But someone puts their hand on someone's shoulder, fucking, I'm inconsolable.
For me, it's got to be an animal involved for me to want to shed a tear.
Ugh, I have to avoid those.
By the way, the Wild Robot. This looks like a ripoff of Iron Giant.
It's apparently a kid's book, but yes, I actually literally thought that for a chunk of the movie. And I was like, it probably is inspired by the Iron
Featuring
Giant.
Pedro Pascal and Mark Hamill. Wow.
Mark Hamill, and then the voice of the robot is Lupita Nyong'o. Do you guys know who that is?
I don't think so.
12 Years a Slave,
No, she doesn't even make the top 10 on the
Black Panther.
IMDb here. It's a shame.
No. Okay. Well, she voices the robot, and it doesn't sound anything like her. She's also from A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I see her.
Incredible actress.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah.
All right, a fair number 2.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah. I thought Ving Rhames died.
No, it's the other one that looks just like him.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
There was 2 enormous black dudes who were actors around the same time, and one of them died, and it always gets confused with Ving Rhames. He's the other dude who is from
Michael Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan, thank you.
But also an incredible actor as well.
Yeah.
But
People call Duncan Ving Rhames.
I saw he was casted on there. I went, wait a minute.
Yep.
Like, is this
Both-
That's
post-mortem?
racist.
They just both had that same body type.
Big dudes. Yeah.
Gigantic.
Black.
Yeah, black. Very nice. All right, Will.
Number 1.
You're number 1.
What do you have that beats your first date with your now wife?
My number 1. It's
Yeah.
also with my wife. And like I said, mine, Sam kind of hit almost exactly on what my number 1 is here. And I guess I'll just call this Florida with Rosa. I think this was even before the Davios date. After like 2 or 3 dates being together, we decided to plan a vacation. And we went to Florida together after like 2 months of talking, like not even dating, but just like talking. Like, let's go on a vacation. And we went down to Orlando, Universal Studios, and went around, had a good time. I booked, nice hotel. We had a lazy river. We ended up like extending it a couple of days rather than what our original plan was. And I say there's just nothing that tells you that you're ready to be with somebody for a long period of time than being on vacation with them and having a good time. It's a pretty good indicator. If you're able to travel and have fun and not get overwhelmed and stressed, and that's just how I knew we could get along for a long time. And it all worked out, and we just had a fantastic time. And it's been all downhill from there, but
well, you got those other 4 families to lean on. And...
Our technical, like probably 4th or 5th date was a trip to Florida together for a week.
Nice.
And it fucking worked out. We got great pictures from it. I had these, I wish I still had them because I used to buy them all the time. Before like Zenny existed, these online like glasses stores where you could get prescription glasses for cheap. I would just go to the fishing section and buy these clip-ons where you could flip up.
I know what you're talking about.
The shades.
Yeah.
I wore those the whole time. So I've got plenty of great pictures of us in photo booths and fucking rock the hell out of it. We spent a lot of time. We went on all the coasters, did all the things, chilled in the lazy rivers. Ended up like I was going to spend a couple nights with my cousin. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck him. I was like, yeah, Hilton over here has a nice pool. It's like, we were standing in line at Splash Mountain. I booked us like 2 nights at the Hilton to extend the stay. And it was magical.
Yeah,
Nice.
Really
that's the best when you don't have to rush back for anything. You're just like, you want to like not go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yep. We've done that a number of times. It was like, we could stay here for another month, right?
I wish I could do that. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a beautiful one. We actually have like a pretty similar story in the fact that like I think we went down to Florida for the first time within the first like 2 weeks of us knowing one another.
Damn.
It's awesome. So there you go, Sepultura.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. Just go to
Find a
Florida.
girl, take her to Orlando.
Yeah. Because Matt did the same thing. Didn't he?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, actually, Megan just posted a photo of her and Matt together. That I forget if I took it or if Kaylee took it. One of us took it.
Yeah.
I think it was me. But they're in front of a carousel at Disney, and that pops up every once in a while and reminds me of how long I've known Matt and how long they've been together, which is wild. We're all hurtling towards the grave. My number one is a date with a man. Kaylee's there too, technically,
Sure.
and the man is a small fuzzy man. My number one date is taking my dog Joshua to the Pacific Ocean,
Oh,
and technically Kaylee's there. But this was just a really, really special, one of the most special things that we've ever got to do, because I mean, Joshua, giving the shortest version of the story possible, he's my dog who came from a very bad abuse situation. He was chained to someone's basement wall for the first however many months of his life, left there to starve and live in his own pee, and
well.
it was
I'm just glad he's in a less abusive situation now.
slightly less abusive situation now. And then fast forward, at this point he's 13 and a half, but he's he's gotten to do a lot of really cool things. He's appeared on National Geographic television. He's been in ad campaigns. His face has been on like a bag of dog food sold in Scandinavian countries. But like, we got to take him from being chained into a basement to living in an apartment to being a homeowner, and then to finally traveling like the whole country, and to dip his little paws in the Pacific Ocean.
Hold on. You have your dog's house in your name for like tax purposes? Is that what you're saying?
The credit cards in his name, the whole situation. But yeah, in 2022, I was in Spain, and I got a call from my mom who was watching Joshua, and she said like, hey, he's like not doing great or whatever, and it turns out that he had to have an emergency splenectomy. He had the surgery, and then they did a biopsy on the spleen, and they were like, oh, he has lymphoma. And so we did chemo, we did the whole thing. And basically at the time they said like, oh, he has about 8 months, which was, tough news. But, we're like, all right, well, let's make the best out of this 8 months. And currently we're at about 30 months, which is amazing. So like during that time, he's gotten to do so much, including take this really extra special trip all the way across the country, from one coast to the other. And to get to see him, dip his little paws in the ocean was like one of the most beautiful things, and definitely like a day that I'll never forget. And you call it a date with him, date with Kaylee, a family date, whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely my number one. And yeah, I'll probably end it there before I cry.
No. Keep talking. We need this for views. We need
For
this
views. He recently got diagnosed with a second cancer, which is simultaneously shitty and like okay, because he has a cancerous tumor on his thyroid gland, and luckily, if you're gonna get any cancer, you should probably get that one, because apparently it's like pretty easy to just remove the gland in the tumor and call it a day. So that's what we're doing on Friday.
I was gonna say that's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a surgery scheduled for Friday, and hopefully it's a quick, easy in and out surgery sort of thing, and we can continue to to go on our next trip and do all sorts of other cool stuff. But I've got, like, we were out west on the Greatest Adventure, and that's when we got to go to the Pacific. So we also have like really beautiful video of that, which is an extra special thing. So having video of that is such a great, a great gift to have. So I'm going to call it there before I uncontrollably break into tears.
I like to think of it from the dog's perspective of like, why the fuck do we have to keep driving around the whole fucking country? This is crazy. What is with these people? Like, we have a perfectly good house up in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I know.
I got my bed there. No, they bring all these other dogs around.
I know. It's fucking bullshit to come back smelling like other dogs. Oh, man. They fucking love the
It's the
RV.
greatest
though.
life that doesn't appreciate it. That's what I hope.
Yep. And right now he's just snoozing on the old couch downstairs at 13 and a half years old. So he's come a long way.
That's wonderful. I think my dog is sitting right at the door, which is closed, with his nose underneath going, waiting for me to finish this podcast. So he can...
My dogs
Heard
are
me.
both asleep right now because they also go to bed at like 9 o'clock when we do. So
And yeah, I'm going to consider it an official date, because I don't think anyone else has had their tongue in and around my mouth more so than that dog.
Just wait till I see you next.
I'm going to break that record. All right.
This has been a really heartwarming episode so far, and I wish it was worse. I wish it was dirtier, with more sadness. I don't know what's wrong with me.
it's because it's what you expect out of us in this show.
Hey, but if you like the show, support your go. Check us
Yeah.
out at top5ofdeath.com.
Top5ofdeath.com.
Check out the
Find us
Discord.
everywhere. Find us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that
Nice.
fun
Yeah,
stuff.
even if you're not watching the YouTube,
Just comment and like
like
the
it
thing.
and share it to something.
Yeah. You could literally
Throw us
just
a
go.
frickin' bone.
These
We've
guys
tried
suck
nothing,
make us
and
do
none of
this."
it's working.
I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. All right, Charles,
All right.
bring us home.
My number one is titled "Sliding into the DM." So back in, yeah, I can't remember the fucking year. That's the time.
2023.
You have
Back
our
in
Lord.
Yeah. Back in 2021, I slid into someone's DMs when I was posting about going to a race in Maryland. And she was like, "Oh, I'm jealous. I wish I could do that race." And I remember she commented on my photo and I messaged her saying like, "Hey," because it was on Thursday. I was like, you could just drive down here and you could crash on my couch and be and like go to the race." Um, well, that didn't happen. But 2 months after that, I did take a train up to Boston where I met a girl named Jess. Hate you. I took a train up to Boston, yeah, where I met a girl named Jess to run a Tough Mudder the next day. And yeah, that was basically our first date. I got there. I got there on Friday, and she had to work, so I just hung out in her living room, and I basically made out with Ace before I made out with her, because he also is just like, "Oh, a new person. Let me get in that mouth."
Yep.
And I think that was like the first major test I passed. And then yeah, the next day we woke up at like freaking 5 a.m. To go run a race together, which the Southie girl was also ran that race last minute. Wonder why that happened. We ran the race together. She took second place at that race, and since then she's apparently somehow stood on a podium every time she's run a race that I've been at. And then we ate pizza and then went axe throwing for the first and only time. At that
I was at an axe throwing place today.
it's an axe throwing place that is also has it's like this one, it's like that giant building that has like everything in it.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was playing darts.
But yeah, it's got like it has an escape room place in there. It also has like go-karts, I think.
Nice.
I don't know. Someplace in Massachusetts. But yeah, we went there, did that, and yeah, we're getting married in 7 months. So sometimes,
Hip, hip.
you know, sometimes just paying, like sometimes it does work out that way. Like, yes, we technically met in person at a race before that, but Daniel Sepultura, sometimes all you have to do is just read the room and just go, "Hey, how's it going?" Like, sometimes sliding into the DMs does work, and I did it on Instagram. So we chatted back and forth a couple days, and then I was like, "Hey, can I have your number?" And that's what worked.
The only other episode we did where we got to give dating advice, we were also monsters.
Monsters. And I told you to show up without pants on. Show everyone what you got.
Yep.
So, Charles, with all that being said, now that you've gotten to know both Ace and Jess, who's the better kisser?
Ace uses a lot more tongue.
Well, answer the question directly.
That's an answer.
That's a hard choice. Jess does have the fresher breath, though.
Yeah, because it's only because she can't reach her butthole like Ace can.
You get those greeny chews.
Those things do not help. Wow.
No. Fantastic. What a sweet,
yeah.
wholesome episode.
Yeah. Yep.
It really was.
It
wish
had
it was
everything.
worse.
It had everything. It had
had
tears. We mentioned poop at one point. Vomits. Yeah. Oh, can I tell you my quick honorable mention?
Yeah.
It was titled "You Are Not the Father."
Ooh, I'm lucky to never have one of those.
Here's the thing. So, I met a girl helping someone move in. Daniel Sepultura. Sometimes all you have to do is just be in a place with people. Sometimes those people are crazy. I was off and on dating this girl. Like, I was dating her, but she was always kind of like aloof, like delayed dates sometimes and that. And I was like, okay, whatever. She's like, I just don't think it's going to work out right now. I'm in a weird place. I'm like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. A couple months later, she messages me. We do a couple more dates. And then I get told, like, again, she just breaks it off. Week later, I'm at a bar with the friend I was helping moving initially, and she was like, "Oh, y'all broke up? Is it because she's having a kid?" And I went, "Excuse me, what?" She's like, "Yeah, she's pregnant." And they're like, "Is it yours?" And I was like, "Is it mine? I only ever got to make out with this girl." And they're like, "Oh, it must have been the other guy she was dating." And I went, "You knew she was dating someone else when she was dating me at the same time?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we just didn't want to say anything." Listen, don't be those people. All right? But I loved being asked the question, "Oh, it's not yours?" Great. Thanks for letting me know I was just paying for dinners to pay for fucking dinners.
No.
Like,
Well, I think you made out in that situation.
I mean, I did at one point. But, no, it was also nice. Like a year and a half later, she messaged me asking if I was still doing that video editing gig for fun. And I went, "For fun? This is my full-time job." And she was like, "Oh, would you be able to help me with my realtor business?" And I went, "Fuck you." No.
For free,
blocked
I'm
me.
sure. She was looking for...
yeah.
She blocked me on Instagram
Yep. That's all right. Let's
after that point.
give out our handle and we'll all follow her.
Fucking no, yeah.
Yeah. You got her social security number?
Elon does.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we do have a couple lists. I'm gonna see how quickly I can blow through these.
All right.
First up, we have Mitch Mint, Fresher to the Fun Butts. Number 5, I put my arm around a girl at the movies, and rather than say, "Nah," she arched her back like a scoliosis patient to get away from it.
See, this is why I gave the warning, is because I wanted more of this shit.
Yeah. Mitch Mint just won.
Great.
4, I took my wife to Sheetz for our first date since she was nervous about a non-public place. You know what, man? That's fair. For gas stations, Sheetz has decent food.
It's
better than
station.
Yeah.
it's better than Subway. I can tell you that much.
Took her to Hafner's.
Yeah.
More kick for your butt.
Number 3, I took my high school girlfriend on a date and sang John Legend's "All of Me" to her while driving. And when she couldn't look me in the eyes, I knew she didn't love me anymore.
Oh wow.
No, you fucking didn't.
Dude, Mitch Mint, do you even
I'm
have
voting
the
for him.
voice? Yeah. He's our fourth option out here. 2, having a girl bring her brother along on a date as a chaperone. Mitch, that's it's almost the same fucking date. Yeah. Yeah. And number 1, my ex broke up with me. I denied her trying to get back together with me, so she got knocked up by a homeless man.
Oh wow.
Bro,
What a twist.
that is incredible. That'll show him.
I think we should extend this episode and have a supplemental for the Fun Butts. I want to hear
Yes.
more.
Please. Next up, we have Balky Mania. He comes in with 4.
Balky. God damn it.
Balky. Whatever, man. Sorry.
It's embarrassing. Perfect strangers.
Yeah. Number 4, I just got my Christmas bonus from Market Basket and cashed it, $2,000. I picked up my girl at the time and her friend. We stopped to pick up some beer and girly drinks. It was snowing like crazy. I struggled opening the door with wallet and drinks in hand, so I put them on my hood of my car. Grabbed the drinks and we took off. Never grabbed the wallet. Realized it the next morning when bringing them home. Still had an excellent night though.
All right.
Number 3,
Very
I went
Balky.
on a first date with a girl to Texas Roadhouse. I got the chicken tenders that have a stupid name I can't remember. They looked really good.
Critters. Don't ask me how I know.
No hesitation.
I ate a couple of them, then started having intense stomach pains. I started sweating. They were so bad. I had to excuse myself or else I was going to shit myself. I made it to the bathroom, but shat my brains out for at least 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Number 2, I somehow got a really good-looking chick to come into bed with me. We started fooling around, and in comes one of my friends barging into my room. He comes over to us in the bed and tries to climb in. The girl yells, "What the hell are you doing?" He replies, "I was just trying to see if you had a belly button." I did not get laid that night. Will, was this you?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this story.
You were nodding along.
He's just started feeling this girl up in her stomach area. And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Yeah, want to see if you had a belly button. The guy in question here who was feeling up the belly button, his wife just died.
Oh, damn.
But she was the worst person I ever met in my life.
Well,
so.
R.I.P.
It's complex. I don't know how to feel anymore.
Well, rest. How about that? Number 1, I brought a girl back to my place, and we were finally alone. Both my roommates were away, but I had some tummy troubles and knew it was going to be a loud, explosive diarrhea. The bathroom was huge, so everything echoed in there. You'd hear it throughout the house. I wasn't going to let explosive diarrhea ruin my chances at sexy time, so I said I had to take my dog for a walk. It was pouring rain that night, so I snuck a handful of tissues into my pocket and took my dog out into the woods. Luckily, we had a bunch of land, so I was able to get far away from the house. I dropped my pants and take a huge shit. It was as explosive and as smelly as I expected. When I came back, she made a comment about how long I was gone, so I blamed it on my dog having diarrhea.
Wow.
So if you guys don't know, this is a friend of mine, and those are 100% accurate stories.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh. And lastly,
Keep submitting all week, everybody.
Just keep doing it. Lastly, we have one from the Daniel Sepultura. He says he can only think of one, funnily enough. When I was in Mexico, was a great way to start a date story because this could go so many different ways. When I was in Mexico, I was staying with a friend and his wife, and they had a girl my age that they know from another city. So she's giving me all the signs of being interested in me. She's leaning on me a bit when I'm watching a movie with her. She's always trying to touch me in some way. She had her hand on my back at one point. Also, Daniel Sepultura, please, punctuation. Back at one point. And when it was my last day, I gave her a hug. And I left thinking she had interest, where in reality she didn't when I went to follow up because I got her number and everything. But people thought the same thing I did, so I wasn't wrong completely. Hey man, that just happens. It just happens. Sometimes you read the room wrong, or maybe it was the hug.
Also, you may have been overanalyzing when she touched you every single time. If you're notating it that much, it might have been incidental contact.
Could just happen. Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I'm not touching anyone by accident, ever.
Forceful.
Yep.
All the time.
Yep.
Yes.
Let them know your intentions.
Yes. Well, we know you can't put a hand on someone's shoulder because you're just going to fucking start break down crying,
Yeah.
Sam.
I can't even watch a man put a shoulder on another man's. What?
You must have a hard ass
Shoulder
time
on
with
shoulder
wrestling,
action.
Sam.
I had a small stroke.
Oh.
It's supposed to be your prime time. You're supposed to be sharp as a tack this hour of the night.
Well, I've had my stroke of the night, which you know what that means.
Oh,
Okay.
come on, get it in
Roman
here.
Hamadan got one
Roman
in
Hamadan.
just now.
Nice.
Doesn't have many worthwhile stories. I did go out with a girl in college who wanted to go ice skating. I'm 6'2" and a giant. Oh, I guess I'm now short. I thought I was tall. She was 5'1" and tiny. My man. I looked like a circus bear on skates and incredibly uncoordinated and uncomfortable. I fell in the middle of the ice rink. I couldn't get up, and there was no way she was going to help me up.
No.
So I seal crawled, more like walrus crawled, my way to the wall to pull myself up. I was so embarrassed. We dated for 6 months after that. Wow. Man, you know what? That fall might have helped seal the deal for a little bit. That's incredible. Also, yeah, ice skating is such a risky date. Oh my God. I feel like you should really know that person before you do that. But
I don't know.
Hey.
I can ski decently, but we went ice skating a couple years ago, and I could not fucking stay up.
Nope.
Hey man, sometimes that just happens. In our older age, it's harder to stay up nowadays. Yeah, we tried. I took Jess ice skating last year. No, technically it was 2 Decembers ago. And yeah, I have good balance and stuff. That coordination on ice skating's gone, absolutely gone. It doesn't help though. They put me, since I'm a bigger person, I have to wear like a size 14. They put me in fucking hockey skates.
Oh wow.
Those are two different types of skates.
Yes, they are.
Hockey skates
Whoa.
are perfectly like, there's no, I will use the front of a regular skate to like kind of push, while
To do your triple lutzes.
hockey skates are a perfect like curve to the toe. So there's no like point to push off with, but they're also like you might as well have knee-high boots on. But, yeah,
I've never
ice
gone to
skating.
a skating rink and them giving me figure skater skates.
Well,
Well, join us
Maybe
next
I'm
week
just not
for
as-
top 5
Top
skating
5.
stories.
Yeah, next week.
Just join us next week, please.
See if Matt's here. We don't know. He might be. He might have sold his house for all we know. We don't know how it went.
Yeah, should we
Yeah,
should we give out his Zillow listing?
I was gonna say, can we put it in the
I
Discord?
can only help, right?
Yeah, well,
Sam, are you going to his house next week?
I think so. Assuming that nobody has like walking pneumonia or any other massively contagious disease.
Why,
I'll
what's-
go over. It's
What's next week? What was I not invited to?
Megan Bisty's annual game night.
Oh, I see how it is.
It was very controversial last year. I got a lot of flack because everybody assumed that I misread a question, and I absolutely didn't.
I remember this now.
Yep.
And everybody yelled at me, including Mrs. Bistany.
Yeah.
So I am coming in with the utmost dictation this year, just verbatim, every goddamn word.
Yeah, don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
But it could be
Well.
canceled if they sell the house. I guess we'll have no.
You're gonna show up there. It's game night. It's called Put Everything in Boxes.
See who can put the most things into a box and then try to break that record.
Oh.
I'd love
Well,
it.
join us next week for whatever the fuck we're doing then.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And as always, smell you later.